go to.
Haley, why are you sitting there?
Hey!
This is all of us. Come on.
I was like, I'm not getting up there.
Yes, you are.
Come on up here.
Yeah. I'm gonna launch that thing probably not. Yeah. Be totally me. I'll knock it out. Like, what happened? Yeah, exactly. Don't get comfortable.
Y'all can't sit there. Y'all don't look comfortable.
The roof is on fire or something like that.
Check, check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5's good. 25's good. Excellent. Sergeant Sprague, whenever you give the green light. Check, check, mic check. That's fine. There we go. Three years ago, Aaron Whitaker, a street artist, gave this to me as a reminder of what happened here in this community in 2020 because of the death of George Floyd and the need for police evolution, that there was a break point. And on this piece of art was a message. It's a message that all of me and all of you stand for when we give of ourselves to serve others. And that is, do it for the people, on the back of a Home Depot box. When you look at what has occurred in this community over the last 3 years, when 3 years ago today, from this stage, Coach Harbaugh was here, Chief Justice Bridget McCormick from the Supreme Court, Percy Glover. You had people that were taking a stand to say, we're going to change the way we do business. We're going to change the way we do jail cultures. We're going to launch education in order to keep people from ever coming back, to give the addicted new hope, to give people trades so they can go provide for their family. That's police evolution, not defund the police. Let's fund what's right. Let's make it better. Let's make it professional. Let's build not only protection and service, but how about that third discipline called unity? And the people behind me, example unity. The example service to others. We made a declaration on May 30th, 2020 at a parking lot on Miller Road. There was a light pole there. And from that moment where we as a community chose a different path, a different way to be heard, where that was one of 40 protests that this community was able to get through without a single injury to either the community or law enforcement. No businesses raided, no glass smashed, no fires lit. And during that time, we made a promise that we're going to be part of the change. And part of that promise is gathering people that are like-minded, equally yoked, like John Allen Bay, a returning citizen, like Marlene Colling, somebody who has fought and overcome addiction is now is a voice for the addicted, like Senator Jim Ananick, like Kelly Ainsworth, like my friend Kent Lemons, and like my friends from the UAW, the University of Michigan, Mott Community College, the NFL, the NHL, like the friends that came from Mount Morris High School, those that poured in from Elga, from Airmark, those like citizens that have come and supported us and shared the message. Dr. Jackson. I could go on and on about people that are like-minded here for the people. To say we're going to look at where people are in the jail and give them a better shot while they're here, safe, clean, so when they leave, they have a new life. But with all that to say, there was a missing piece, because I can only hold people as long as they're sentenced, they're bonded, or they do their time. What are we going to do when they leave? What's that wraparound look like? And that's where RISE comes in. See, I.G.N.I.T.E, Inmate Growth Naturally Intensity Through Education, that's the start of it. When you come to this county jail, you will be given an opportunity to reclaim your life, to be given the new chance to go back and reunify your family with a trade, to get your GED, your diploma, to go and provide. When you have value, you make different decisions, but when you have an ignition inside the jail, you need somebody to rise up when they leave. Thus rise the Phoenix. Janelle, Allen Bay, and Percy Glover, we teamed up with a lot of great people. And in a minute, we're going to unveil this banner that's going to give an example of the people that we've been able to team up with. These are people that were here, and these are people that have committed to be a part of the change. And you're going to hear about RISE and the launch of RISE on the 3rd year anniversary of when we launched I.G.N.I.T.E. To those that have invested in us, the Aaron Whitakers of the world, the people that gave us a chance, the ones that heard what we did on May 30th around the world, we have not relented on our journey to stay the course. When we launched I.G.N.I.T.E. on September 8th, we didn't have an infrastructure. We didn't have Wi-Fi. We had Chromebooks that couldn't connect. But because of those relationships and the idea that we could do something greater, those assets came. And now we have I.G.N.I.T.E. And let me share with you the statistics. Since that day, we've taught 227,000 hours inside this jail alone. We've been able to raise, because of our tracking of data through Mount Morris High School's adult education, Superintendent Mickey Kuyat, who was there from the beginning at the launch, we were able to raise the reading grade in this jail 2.56 grades. And that doesn't include the math. They did an assessment when we started. We've been able to raise the math literacy in this jail 3.29 grades. When you look at that, it may not be a big deal for those that graduate high school, but it's a big deal for people who come to this jail. When you consider that 9 out of 10 people that come to jails in America are addicted or co-addicted, when you consider that half the people come to jail cannot read a menu at a restaurant, when you consider that 6 out of 10 struggle with mental illness, when you consider they come from broken families, yes, they made bad decisions, but they also came from a decision that somebody else made for them. They've been living that torture, that trauma for years. And the staff behind the camera, the staff that's sitting here, you've given me the hope to just trust the vision that if you believe that what we're doing makes sense, just keep moving forward, and you've done that. The jail staff that set this up today, the jail staff, Amanda Mankowski, Captain Jillian Mason, Major Gould, those that pour in from the I.G.N.I.T.E. team that you see here every single day, this can only happen because of you. It can only happen. And once you catch the vision, once you see the ignition and you see the Phoenix rise, you too will understand that when you keep people from coming to jail, everybody wins. Everybody wins. And that's why it's caught the attention of the nation. The National Sheriff Association picked up this story. We did in 2021 an expose at the USA Today. And you could go look it up and see from that one article that USA Today did, it lit a fuse that allowed me to go in 21 to Arizona to speak at the National Sheriff Association with not only the current sheriff of Minneapolis, Minnesota, Sheriff Witt, but also a returning citizen. And she had been locked up from a marijuana charge, and she did over 20 years. And as we talked, the first sheriff to come up was the sheriff of Minneapolis, Minnesota, where it all started. At the time, his name is Sheriff Hutchinson. He says, we need I.G.N.I.T.E in Minneapolis. And what are the chances of a sheriff in Flint being in Arizona, giving a presentation about what we're doing here, in 6 months, seeing the reactions, and the first sheriff to come forward said, we need it in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And we were able to see what they've done with that. But they're only one of 7 other states that have I.G.N.I.T.E in their jails today. Do you know that there are 15 more counties that are in the planning stages of I.G.N.I.T.E throughout the country? And I go to New Mexico in January of next year to launch the entire state, all counties in New Mexico, I.G.N.I.T.E. When you look at what's happening, the I.G.N.I.T.E County Sheriff, Mark Cage, has opened up the entire state as the president of the New Mexico Sheriff Association, seeing the example, a southern sheriff, knowing that there are no political boundaries for educating people, giving people an opportunity. There are no partisanship lines that can be drawn when you're giving people a chance to have value. We all deserve that. And you will see that I.G.N.I.T.E and RISE is now the standard in jails and communities across the country. And that's why we're here, to celebrate, to acknowledge that this is just the beginning. And the work that's being done in this community, in this country, is being duplicated and lives are being changed. When you look at what's happening in here, I want you to know, if you're watching, if you're part of the media, you're part of that messaging. You're part of that hope that you're giving. I've seen it. I've heard the stories. In fact, you're going to hear a testimony shortly of how wrapping yourselves around people who have been given a bad shot, but also made some bad decisions. You'll know why I don't send a single letter to a judge advocating for somebody in jail because they're in I.G.N.I.T.E. I don't want that. You're there for the wrong reasons. I want you to look at this as this is an obligation you have to your families, to your name legacy. And if you have a chance to go change that, you don't need me to write a letter to you. You don't need me to write a letter to the courts. What you need is to take on wherever your future goes and be better than when you came here. And we've seen that hundreds and hundreds of times. On Tuesday the 12th, next week, we do our 21st commencement graduation in the jail. You're all invited. We call this the Ark. It's the place of safety. And you can witness it live, and that's why we've caught attention. But again, the promise that I make is just words. Watch what we do. And that's what people want. They want people to say and do what they promise. When I first met John Allen and Percy, it was 1993. I was a young deputy in this jail, and they were here doing time, serious time. And we were reconnected in 2019 when they came here to the jail. After Percy did 12 years, John Allen did 29. What are you going to do being the next sheriff that's going to change culture? They probably were expecting one answer, but knowing who I was and knowing that the path that I've been on, I've always had this vision, this energy, this excitement. And I told them we're going to start a program called I.G.N.I.T.E, and we're going to create a culture where we go to school 5 days a week, that we base it on a meritocracy. If you do your work, you'll get rewarded. The bigger the work you do, the bigger the reward. It may be a pop, it may be a bag of chips, it may be an extra hour, a phone call to your family, all the way up to a commencement graduation where you get to hug your babies. And you can look at your mother for the first time in many, many years and say, I'm doing it, Mom. I'm doing it. But I can't give that message. I can't always go out there to a community that doesn't look like me, that doesn't live, doesn't worship. We're all different, diverse. But if you surround yourself and unify people that aren't just like you, your message can reach people that have never been reached. And I am so thankful and honored that you and Percy have been here from the beginning. You gave me a chance, and the fact that you speak for returning citizens throughout the country, which number 80 million people that have done at least one day incarcerated. I'm not going to quit. I'm just getting started. His name is John L. Allen Bay, and he's a full-time employee for the Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Good morning. First of all, thank you everybody for coming out and supporting this cause, right? I remember being here September 8th in 2020, and our vision was just to make Genesee County Sheriff's Office the best we could do. You know, that's the only thing we saw, is that we're gonna do better here. We're gonna be educated, and I knew that education is so important. It's so important because of the fact that anytime you invest in yourself, a vocational or just getting a diploma and college credit, it reduces your chances by 42%. But if you get a 2-year degree, 98% of those people never return. I'm a product of education, real understanding of what it takes to be able to survive and be able to be successful in society. Today is, I've been home for 5 years, 6 months. Think about that. And without a vision of Sheriff Swanson saying, you know what, I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna do something totally radical, because it's radical to have me here. It's radical to give a person a chance, especially when you've been labeled a felon. We all cringe. But it's our obligation for a second chance. I received a second chance. There was a judge named Richard Ewell. He was in a circuit court, and he gave me a second chance. And one of the reasons why he really looked at me was based on my education. He saw that when I was doing time, I was putting in some work, and that mattered. Yesterday, I received a letter from my appeals attorney, and he handed me all of my files. He sent it digital, and he says that not only am I proud of you, but I expected something out of you. I.G.N.I.T.E students, those who come through, there's an expectation. Even the deputies look at them and they wonder, what are you gonna do when you go home, right? What are you gonna do? I run a program called Destroying the Imposter, and one of the things I talk about is the imposter prayer, right? Because when anybody ever been in jail for a minute, if you go through a crisis, you go through this thing where you telling God, I'm never gonna do this again, right? And yet we see him again. Something had to change, and I.G.N.I.T.E did. And from I.G.N.I.T.E, there's been various things that's happened. We got job court, restorative justice, all of these things that have never happened before in our county has come up, and it rolls up. And out of this here, something special happened. I remember going to my first meeting and meeting Ms. Ainsworth and Mr. Lemon, and I just loved their energy, and I knew that, you know what, we on to something special. And then they brought a young lady in the room named Marlene, and then it went crazy. It went crazy. And even when things got cold, somehow we were able to get heat, because you know you can have an ideal and it'll fizzle out in a minute. You know, it sounds good and we all enthused, and then that didn't happen with us. And out of that came a new concept, a wraparound called RISE. Reach, empower, serve, right, and support, and empower. That's what RISE is. And this makes it real because of the fact that there's a young lady here that came through our program, right? That came through our jail, and she was there quick. But with I.G.N.I.T.E, you know, it's about making sure that we put you in the best position to succeed. And her name is Samantha. Come on up, Samantha.
Well, I'm at New Path, and I was here in jail. I had a DUI and totaled my car and was put on probation. And I broke probation and got pulled over again because I had absconded. I didn't report, and I came to jail, and then that's where I met Miss Amy. And thank God for her. She had talked to me several times and talked to me about the RISE program and would I be interested in going to New Path for rehab. And I said, well, yeah, absolutely. And I've been there now and getting all the tools and all the information to get better and get recovery and to be able to be prosperous for the rest of my life. And that's been the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And I'm very grateful. I'd lost my brother and my stepmom, and that's when I relapsed, and that's what contributed to me being in jail. And I thank all these people for doing this, and I feel honored to be here and invited by Chris Swanson and yes, and and Miss Amy. And I thank all of you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you know how much courage it takes to come up and to speak to the world about your journey? Samantha, your story is one that is duplicated every day. And many times when something like she said, her brother, and a death in a family is all you need is a trigger to do something you would never ever expect that you'd be doing. And we can all relate to that. That's why I can all say that we have been given a second chance sometime in our life. You don't need to be locked up to give it a second chance. I know the people in my mind thinking right now who gave me an opportunity when I didn't deserve it. But Samantha, your testimony today is going to encourage people that life is going to happen. It rains on the just and the unjust. But what are you going to fill your time with? What are you going to fill that void with? It's either going to be something constructive or something destructive, and you're doing it. And that's why this team is with you. And I will tell you, the personalities that are here, you need leadership. When Senator, at the time, I.G.N.I.T.E came to me, and he has a heart for people. You know, this guy is a leader, not only among government, but also among this community. He's an adoptive father. He's got a heart for the lost and for the weary. And he said, I want to come to a graduation. And he brought two people, one named Kelly, another one named Ken. And they saw the graduation magic. And it was at that point that they said, we need to be a part of it. And when I.G.N.I.T.E called me, and I hope you watch this, Jim, I know when you say you're going to do something, you follow through because you put the right people in place. And that right person is Kelly Ainsworth from Flint Health Coalition.
Thank you so much. I have to say to everyone behind me, we did it. We're here. This started as a couple of people around a table saying, hey, we're all doing some really amazing stuff, and we all want to be here serving the people in the jail who need support and they need hope. And we said, well, I'm doing this and you're doing that. Let's do it together. And that's what we did. And it's amazing to see us. We would fill the room. There's a conference room inside this building behind us, and we would fill that room. Every time we'd show up, month after month, there'd be new people. And that was exciting to see people care about helping people. People willing to do things differently, people willing to partner in a time where there are so many different things that we can compete over, and we can be competitive and say, no, I'm gonna do this. I've got the grants to do this. This is my job. We do this over here. We serve these people. These people behind me here, these dedicated individuals, put down those barriers and those lines and said, no, we're gonna do it together, and we're gonna create something that doesn't even exist. And that's exactly what we did. So on behalf of the Health Coalition, I wanna thank the Genesee County Sheriff's Office for their tireless drive and commitment to creating and supporting innovative solutions that support incarcerated individuals, their families, and this community. This Sheriff's Office does things differently, and we are better for it. We cannot continue to do the same things that haven't worked and expect different results. And I can tell you right now, we're getting different results, and people are better for it, and we're so excited.
That deserves a clap. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm breaking. That's an amen right there. All right.
So, as I.G.N.I.T.E has, over the past 3 years, has been transforming lives, healing people from trauma, helping them gain employment, skills, and just helping them become productive citizens, RISE became a thought, a dream. And we said, okay, this is what the jail's already doing, and it's awesome. What else can we do? How can we support people? So we looked at the needs. We thought, okay, people who are in jail typically are coming with mental health, behavioral health concerns, substance use concerns, and the people behind us, we have the resources, the support, the funding, the passion, the drive, and so we came together and created RISE. Reach, inspire, serve, and empower. That's RISE. It's a collaborative effort of nonprofit social service agencies that want to complement and add to the I.G.N.I.T.E model, providing peer recovery coach services for people as they enter the jail, providing support for behavioral health as they return home, and connecting them to aftercare planning for social needs services. We have a team that say, hey, when you leave, do you have a home to go to? Do you have food? Do you have medical benefits? How about your family? Do they have any of those things? So we're not just supporting individuals, we're supporting families, communities. We want to do things differently because we want to transform lives, and we can't transform lives without being innovative, creative, and collaborative, and that's exactly what RISE is. So RISE serves people with mild to moderate offenses who are going to be returning home within the next 6 months. We want to help support people who are going to have that chance to go home and make those changes, and we can provide those services on an ongoing basis. I want to acknowledge the partners behind me. I've said so many times, these partners, these people. We've got Genesee Health System, their crisis intervention team, New Path Behavioral Health. They have been a tremendous partner with their peer recovery coaching, connecting people to substance use treatment, behavioral health, peer recovery coaching. Our Mid-Michigan CHAP team, our Community Health Access Program. Those are the folks that are connecting people to those health-related social needs: food, housing, clothing, healthcare, you name it. Our quick response team, as people are leaving the jail, and if they're receiving peer recovery coaching services inside the jail, our quick response team is going to connect with them on the outside and help them access treatment, sustain treatment, and build skills that help them sustain long-term recovery. Because it's one thing to connect somebody to support services, but it's a whole other thing to help them sustain it and to live it and to truly recover. How do we help people recover? We do that in a whole person way. We have to wrap around them and come alongside them, not just for a season, but for as long as they need us, so we can do everything we can. And that really is what RISE is going to do. We're going to come around people, and we're going to support them, and we're going to help them rise up.
I know you're busy, and we're going to be done in a minute, but as I conclude, I want to thank those that call themselves sheriff's deputies. Even as a sheriff, I'm still a deputy. And what we've been able to do is truly remarkable since we've been here on the year of 1836. They will remember the time that you came here and changed history. So whatever division you're in, jails, training, detective bureau, ghost, I.G.N.I.T.E, social services, whether you're part of patrol, command, just want you to know that you're much appreciated. This is what police evolution is. As Kelly mentioned, if somebody offends and they have no food and their children are hungry and they can't go to school, if you fix that problem, that's evolution. That's not just treating a symptom. That's what happens at Operation Arrowhead. That's what happens in Ghost, in the Detective Bureau, in our paramedic division. You fix the problem, you don't have to worry about symptoms. And that's what we're doing today. I'm going to break rank here and bring up Marlene because I want her to thank the people in the county government that allow me to work with them. Our Board of Commissioners, led by Ellen Ellenberg, the co-chair, have multiple committees, but the chair of the commission, Josh Freeman, who is part of the administration when it comes to opiate spending money. he put the right person in charge. And Marlene, you represent a population that you love. You'd take them all in your home if you could. And before I close out, I'd love to give you just a minute or so in front of the mic to say thank you to you, and if you would thank our partners in the county, and to give you that recognition you deserve.
Beyond humble, my brother. And I have to say, everything they've said here, hold true, so help you God. It is exploding to my heart to be here today, not just for this, but for the humans, right, inside there and still walking the streets and just walking by wondering, like, what's going on here? And I will remember those meetings when you guys said, we can't share data, Marlene, from the jail. They're never going to allow it. And I'm like, well, no, I don't think so. I have a boss, Joshua Freeman, and he's pretty proactive these days. And it amazed everybody that our technical information office was very geared up to share data. We want data. We want to share the information. We want to tell humans, our taxpayers, what's happening with individuals in here. Are they succeeding? Are they not? Are all these funds that we're granted with to assist the human, are they truly assisting? And now today we're going to be able to capture that data. And so the commissioners have been so welcoming to see us rise up together, if you will. So thank you very much again. Thank you.
So I'm going to leave everybody here and those at the sound of my voice with a question. I call it a pillow talk question. Sometime before the end of the night, ask yourself the same question that was asked by me by a veteran reporter named Tim Skubik. He said, Sheriff, what do you want to do when you grow up? This was just 2 months ago. And it was a very difficult question because we think we're all grown up, but we're not. Do you know how much you have to offer still? If you're here with a beat in your chest and a breath in your lung, there's more for you to do. There's more people for us to serve. There are no days off. Harbaugh will tell you that. Harbaugh will tell you that the football program is not transactional in order to be successful. It's transformational to be successful, and that's what you see today. So I told the reporter when he asked me what I want to be when I grow up. I want to do whatever I need to do to serve the people that need it most. Thank you for coming. Have a great day. Everybody here is open for internal personal interviews. Thank you to ABC 12, 525, MLive, all those other reporters. Thank you to everybody here. Feel free to do your interviews. Good job. Thank you.